With this power, I will cut my own path. Professor! Oh my, it's so good to see you. These days, so many old friends seem to be disappearing. But you're here. It's incredible to see you again after 5 years. I have a feeling your name will go down in history. Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
My father used to be a knight in service of the royal family of Fargus. For a time, he was at the monastery, but apparently he's back in Fargus serving as a knight again. Which means, if I fight with this army, I'll eventually have to face my own father. Terribly, but I've accepted my fate. I'm ready for anything. Of course, if at all possible, I would prefer not to fight my father. This is the path I chose. I have no regrets. Thank you so much.
You... Okay. Professor? This may seem a bit sudden, but I want to thank you, Professor. That is, for letting me live my life the way I want. I've noticed you've been giving me fewer of those soul-revealing gazes lately. I appreciate you making an effort to not trouble yourself over who I spend my time with. Well, of course. Did you think I wouldn't notice? It's kind of sweet in its own way. Professor, may I tell you a story about when I was younger? I was an orphan, living in the back alleys of Enbar, until one day I was overheard singing. That was when my new life began. I was suddenly a songstress in the Middle Franc Opera Company. Performers, nobility. I met so many people. But none of them ever really knew me. I was just some young, pretty girl who could sing. A spectacle to be admired. Even though everyone praised my looks and my voice, and they showered me with gifts, I knew one day I'd be old. My looks would fade, my voice would change. I wouldn't sound the same. And I started to wonder, when I did get old, what would I have left? I'd be old, alone, and back on the streets of the capital, right where I'd started. That's sweet of you, even if you are just flirting. I never had much to begin with in life, and I worry that one day I'll be that way again. That's why I keep searching for someone who will love me. Someone unaware of the songstress, who can love a girl that used to be scared and alone on the streets of the capital. I wonder if such a strange person can even exist.
I have good friends in both the Alliance and Fargus, so this fighting weighs heavily on me. I can't bear the thought of battling the Knights of Seros to the death. I have to keep my chin up though, right? Let's press on together, Professor.
I never had a chance to cook in Enbar, so my skills are a bit undeveloped. This would go a lot quicker if I could just use an axe or a sword. Of course.
Food of the palace is extravagant, but food of the battlefield is very plain. Are you finding it difficult to be adjusting?
No, it is not so bad. In all honesty, I've had to eat much worse food in the past.
Yeah, you just get it, Professor.
I appreciate any good meal.
This is my favorite. I am rather happy you went out of your way to...
This looks delicious.
I'm relieved you're here, Professor. It seems we've reached a stalemate on the war front. I admit I'm feeling apprehensive about fighting the Alliance. I agree. It's time to shelve my personal feelings and focus on the bigger picture. I'll fight with full force. I'm counting on you to lead us to victory, Professor.
Yes, His Highness, the new king, is in the process of unifying the kingdom under his command. His powerful army has joined forces with the Knights of Seros, who moved their seat to Fargus. And now they're presenting a united front against the Imperial army. They're our greatest enemy, absolutely. I don't relish the idea, but there's no turning back now. For now, we should focus our efforts on the Alliance. The Kingdom and Church can come afterwards. Judith, who defends the Great Bridge of Myrden, is a formidable opponent. We can't afford to drop our guard. I need a favor. No.
Professor. Thank you for helping me with my training again today, Professor. I'm gonna keep at it for a while longer, so you go on ahead. I can't. Not when I'm right on the cusp of using my power to greater potential. Surely you yourself are tired. Just don't worry about me, okay? I'm sorry, Professor. It was careless of me to continue, despite how fatigued I clearly was. I probably should have listened to you. Now I've made a mess of things. I can't help but feel the need to rush in all things constantly. You get that way when you realize you haven't got much time. 13 years ago, House Ordelia was involved in a civil conflict within the Empire. All we did was respond to a call for aid. We weren't involved politically. But once the rebellion was crushed, my family was held responsible for the aid we gave, and the Empire gained some sway over us as a result. At the time, the noble houses of the Alliance took a passive stance. No one lent aid to my family. As a result, some key officials within the family were killed, and people from the Empire were sent to replace them. Among those people were some mysterious mages. They were unsettling, in a word, skin pale as death. One after another, they captured and imprisoned the children of our household. They began performing terrible rituals on the children, though it's probably more accurate to call them experiments. With the Empire monitoring our every move, my parents could do nothing but watch in horror as all of this unfolded. One after another, the children died, till the only one left was me. You know, my hair wasn't always this color. During their experiments, they'd been doing things with my blood. One morning, I awoke like this. A shock of white hair, all trace of pigment gone. Upon seeing me, the mages were delighted. They realized that their experiments had finally succeeded. Sure enough, they ran a test and saw that two crests coexisted within me. Losing pigment from my hair wasn't the only loss. The mages informed me that my lifespan was now greatly shortened. 5 more years at most, perhaps less. Shortly thereafter, the mages lost interest in me, and we never saw them in the Ordelia household again. Since all that, our family has been in decline. It's challenging now even to govern our territory. After all my mother and father have suffered, I at least want them to have peace as they grow older. That is all I wish for, but I haven't much time to ensure it comes to pass. It's not like what's been done to me can be undone. Professor, the only way I can conceive of would be to remove my crest somehow. But I don't know if that's even remotely possible. Even if it were, I wouldn't be of much use to you and the others without my crests. You sound resolved. I'll allow your resolve to bolster my own. Thank you, Professor.
Hello there.
Hey there. Ah, a new face. I am Randolph von Bergles. I'm the guardian of this place. Wait a moment. I'm sure I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, yes. You're Her Majesty's professor. You're alive? Oh, this is my little sister, Fleisch. She's just a rookie, but she's helping me as my assistant.
Hello, I'm Fleisch von Bergles. It's nice to meet you. I know I'm inexperienced, but I'm gonna do my best. You can count on me to look after my big brother.
I've heard you're planning to march into Alliance territory. I'll be here to guard the fort.
Hey, Professor. What have you been up to for 5 years? Hope you haven't gone soft. I got myself into perfect shape. Took all 5 years of pushing my muscles to the limit. But look! You bet I do! You gotta get training if you want to catch up.
What's that look on your face? Surprised to see me? I'm a mercenary. Always have been. Even when I was with the Knights of Seros. I never was too attached to Fodlan. I was considering leaving soon, but I might change my mind if you're around.
Are we leaving for battle? I heard it's a long march. But it's fine. I've had plenty of time to stay inside lately, so I think it's time I went out. Yeah, I can do this. No more Bernie Bear. Yes, but, please don't put me up front, okay?
Heya!
Professor?
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. What's that? Do I have brothers in the church? You really are well informed. My older twin works for the Knights of Saros, but I think he's just a grunt, not a noble gatekeeper like yours truly. Unlike me, he's very devout. He left the Empire a long time ago.
Hey! Ah! At long last, we meet again. I knew you were alive. I knew you could survive. And 5 years on, you arrive. We're reunited. I'm glad I kept watch for you in the downstream villages all that time. I was so devoted to finding you that I left the Knights of Saros. Now I serve no one other than you. I'll protect you, just as I promised Captain Gerald I would all those years ago.
Right.
Professor? Professor!
Hey, Professor, something's been bothering me. Remember that suspicious guy I chased after back when I was a student? A knight scolded me for it, but at the time I really thought I was doing the right thing. Now that I've had more experience on the battlefield, though...
I've been looking for you. There isn't much time, so I'll keep this brief. The Knights encountered a band of brigands while out marching. It was hard fought, but we prevailed. Our soldiers are highly trained, but the enemy was formidable, and we weren't expecting combat. There were a number of casualties among our troops. Much appreciated, but there's a reason I need to bring this to your attention. The brigands all bore identical tattoos of a scorpion on their arms. Please, keep an eye out for that mark in the future.
Oh no.
Don't mention it. If you'll excuse me, I need to get back to my duties.
Heck of a coincidence, right? As soon as I mention that suspicious guy, this happens. But some of the knights died in combat. They died because of what I did 5 years ago. This is my fault. If I'd stayed quiet and tracked the guy down like you said, we would have stopped those brigands sooner, and I wouldn't have blood on my hands. But he probably wouldn't have. Now those knights, they're not coming back. We both know it. This is all my fault.
Hey there.
No.
Oh, Professor. I didn't realize you were there. If we keep running into each other like this, people will start to talk. Hey, don't get mad. I was joking. Ah, forget it. What do you need? I fell for that girl recently, but I just wanted to have some fun and leave it at that. So, I told her we should break it off. I guess she was feeling a little more serious than I was. She started crying, and everything got a bit complicated. Come on, Professor. Playing around with girls is the most fun a guy can have. Besides, I don't care what you think of me. I don't intend to change how I live my life. I'm a good-for-nothing, if you haven't noticed. But I'm still a noble with a crest. That's all anyone cares about. It's best to avoid getting too serious with fools like that. It only leads to trouble. I'm gonna be forced into an arranged marriage with some random noble woman anyway. By the way, Professor, you didn't know you had a crest, did you? I see. I suppose a mercenary wouldn't be concerned with such things. Most children who are born to noble families are tested upon birth to see if they bear one. Even descendants of the 10 elites, like myself, can't be legitimate heirs without a crest. That means as children, we're only accepted if we're born with one. The heads of most noble houses keep having kids until they get one with a crest. Those children then grow up to be heads of their houses, and the vicious cycle continues. Do you get it now? To all these commoner girls, I'm just a trophy. Or rather, a stud horse. See? I knew you'd get it. These girls don't love me. They love the potential rewards of loving me. If I marry a girl and she gives birth to a child with a crest, that kid might become the next head of House Gautier. But nowadays, with the bloodlines getting weaker, there are a lot of kids like my brother, born with no hope. For ages now, those of us with crests have been envied and desired, but never for who we are. I understand the value of my blood. Believe me, I hate how much I understand it. I know better than to dream of being free from this burden. I'm used to it by now. I used to think I didn't have the right to live freely. That's right. You know what? I'm a bit jealous. The whole time you were growing up, you never knew you had a crest. You were free. Nobody pretended to like you. I kind of hate you for that. You were a spoiled brat who should pay for that crest. Maybe I'll collect the debt. Gotcha! Wow, you should have seen the look on your face just then. Don't mind me, Professor. After all, ladies love a dark and brooding noble.
The last 5 years have been difficult at times. My relationship with Edelgard is rather contentious, due to the incident with my father. Nevertheless, I cannot abandon my family's duties. As Duke Eyre, I must play my part in the Imperial Army. Edelgard intends to abolish the nobility, but I know I can dissuade her from doing so.
Professor. Apologies for bothering you so late. I just really wanted to speak with you. Thank you. You see, I've been feeling conflicted about my future. It may seem petty to worry about such things in the middle of a war like this. This isn't something I open up about with many people. Feeling such a sense of inner turmoil while a war rages on, and others are fighting with all they have, well, it feels a little selfish. The truth is, I've wanted to be a knight ever since I was a small child. Not just any knight, like one you might find serving within the castle guard, but a true knight, one serving a master. However, my father has always had different plans for me. He wants me to marry, for the benefit of the Galatea family. Defying my father feels wrong. I've seen how he's struggled over the years. His burden has always been far greater than any I've had to bear myself. While he fed me extravagant meals, he subsisted on meager portions and watered-down soups. He never once complained, even though he must have been starving. Knowing his sacrifices, I've never been able to tell him of my dream of becoming a knight. Although ultimately, I find myself betraying his wishes. Now that I've parted ways with my father, there is nothing to stop me from pursuing my dream. But even if I do become a knight, I feel an unease deep within me. I fear I will never escape this guilt I carry, that I have shunned my duty as a noble.
All I can do is accept this inner turmoil. Even with the academy days long behind us, you're still a professor through and through. Always listening to others' troubles and offering up your wisdom. I really am grateful for all that you do for us, Professor. I hope you'll always be here as a guide to everyone. I know I myself would appreciate that deeply.
Professor? Hey, Professor. It's been a really long time, hasn't it? The last 5 years have been full of heartbreak. Not from girls, but friends and family becoming enemies. One of the things that kept me going was the hope you'd return. And now here you are. A lot has changed, but you're back. And it's the first time I can remember being happy in a while.
Indeed. House Gloucester will remain staunchly neutral in this war, even if we press into Alliance territory. My father is no threat to the Empire. Lady Edelgard surely understands that. The Great Bridge of Myrddin, however, is another story. I hear it is held by Judith of House Daphne. She is renowned for her military prowess. We would do well not to underestimate her.
Professor?
Yeah. All right, I'm ready to fight. Let's do this. Leave it to me. I can take on the whole, most of the enemy's army. I know my limits now, Professor.
I thought you might be at the monastery. That's why I made my way here. I decided to follow your path because I believed in you. Then you vanished. Now that you've returned, I have my guiding light once again. Welcome back, Professor.
Oh, hi, Professor. Do you remember what we talked about before? About doing my best to not do my best? Well, I've been pretty busy recently, and despite my best efforts, I've been trying way too hard. I was busy all day yesterday with training and work. I just couldn't help myself. That's why I decided to take a day off today. It's just, now that I have a day off, I don't know what to do with myself. Please, you have to help me. What should I do? I can't relax if I'm doing nothing. I need something to keep me occupied or I'll go nuts. I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm cut out for not doing my best. Oh! You're a professor. You must know some secret technique for deep relaxation, right? If you do, please teach me. I'm begging you. I'm at my wit's end. Got it. I'll try that right now. This candy is so sweet and delicious, and it goes so well with piping hot tea. Ooh, and And speaking of the tea, your brewing skills are incredible. I'd love to be able to make such nice tea, but... Oh, Professor, will you teach me how to brew tea like this? I'll do my best to learn, and then I'll make delicious tea for you as thanks. Oh, sorry. Back to my old tricks, it seems. So, why is it so difficult to not do my best? I try and try to not try, but it just doesn't work. Professor? You're right. Doing nothing is just not my style. To be myself, I've got to do my best every day. Okay. Then you really must teach me how to make such delicious tea. You will, won't you? Please. Oh, and also, well, thank you. You've listened to me and helped me face my troubles. Now I feel like I can talk to you about anything. Honestly, I wish we could go on drinking tea like this forever.
For 5 years, I've fought for the Empire. I've cut down hordes of enemies. Now I have the same look in my eyes that the boar used to have in his. The look of a savage beast who loves nothing but destruction and violence. I hope not. You and Edelgard must not disappoint me. Mark my words. The future you're building had better be worth all this bloodshed.
Edelgard is controlling the Empire. She is putting the pressure on the Kingdom and Alliance. Empire and religion are at open war. It will be difficult for us at first. But corrupt nobles are many. That means the common people will rebel and be joining our side. With you, Professor, the battle tides will turn. I have certainty. Not for myself, for everyone. Not for myself, for everyone. Not for myself, for everyone. Witness rigid pride. My heart burns with pride.
Professor. Thanks for your help out there. Battles tend to go smoother with you around. I think you did most of the heavy lifting. It may be unwise to think this way on the battlefield, but I feel I can trust your commands without question. Don't we all? But, judging by the results of our recent battles, you're clearly good at this. I've also noticed that you've been putting me in more precarious situations lately. Almost like you know I won't question your orders. Huh. I'm glad you trust me to get the job done, but still, I knew you were doing it on purpose. You're in a very important position now that you're leader of the Imperial Army. Funny to think you used to just teach at the Officers' Academy. Your old students still call you Professor. That's no title for the commander of an army. You'll always be their professor, huh? You sure are an interesting one. My people lost the war, and I was left to wander Fodlan alone, but I guess meeting you was my prize. You look confused. Did you not know any of this? I was living in my homeland of Dagda up until the Imperial Army destroyed it 10 years ago. But being a mercenary, I have no real allegiance. That's why I'm working here now. Don't worry though, I don't plan to turn on you.
No.
Right.
Me? After the battle 5 years ago, the Imperial Army occupied Garreg Mach. The cathedral and several other buildings were destroyed, but we've done some repair work here and there, and we're using the buildings as a base of operations. As for me, well, the church moved its headquarters to Fargus, and I've seen no reason to follow. When I returned to Enbar, I received a summons from Her Majesty, and I chose to answer.
Professor, since you came back, everyone's been smiling. Just you being here makes an incredible difference. I can't express how reassuring it is to see you.
Need something? See you again soon.
I'm so glad to see you're all right. I really regretted not being able to keep the promise I made to my mentor. Captain Gerald told me that if anything should happen to him, then I should stick by you. I'm going to do just what he asked. I'll be right here to support you from now on.
Really?
Professor, do you know how happy I was to hear you were still alive? I'll tell you how happy. For the past 2 days, I haven't had my morning or my afternoon naps. Well, as long as we weren't marching. Can't sleep much then. But it's not for want of trying.
You've finally joined us, have you? I attached myself to the Imperial Army as well. Seemed the thing to do. I feel I owe it to Edelgard to set my past feelings about the Empire aside. I am happy to help her. It's strange, isn't it? After 5 years, the 3 professors are together once more. I am most curious, though. You say you were asleep for 5 whole years. Incredible. Perhaps this is another effect of your crest. I do look forward to investigating you in greater detail. Wonderful news. I am most excited to begin. We must find the time, of course.
There's still...
Hello.
Allow me to brief you on the details of our situation. The Empire firmly controls the western portion of Fargus. However, the central and eastern regions continue to put up heavy resistance. The strongholds in these regions are Aryan Road, the fortress city, and Ferdiad, the kingdom capital. We cannot control Fargus until we have taken both of these cities. As for the Alliance, Houses Gloucester and Ordelia seem predisposed to capitulate to us. However, due to interference from Houses Regan and Goneril, we have yet to secure their cooperation. Claude obviously hopes to keep the Alliance whole through diplomacy. But because we have had to focus our efforts against the Church until now, our forces have yet to meet his. We have only recently begun to take the fight to Alliance territory. I have a request for you.
Professor, I'm sorry to have dragged you into the fight again so soon after our reunion, but you appeared at a most opportune time. I'm truly humbled by your support, my teacher. Thank you. And so I will. I'm hoping your abilities from 5 years prior are still intact. Make sure you're ready to head out, okay?
My adoptive father sent me here so our family name would be known. He doesn't care which side wins, the Empire or the Alliance. However, even if he tells me to come home, I intend to stay. I want to see this new world Edelgard dreams of.
Edelgard Empire, but corrupt with you?
Hi there! Who? After the cathedral, we've done as for when I
Well done, Professor. Thank you.